Good morning and welcome to today's webinar being brought to you by SCORE and Chester and Delaware counties. Our topic today, secret marketing weapon you don't know how to use. Psst, it's email. Being presented by Judith Lee. We'll begin momentarily. I am your moderator today, Adam Schubert, volunteer with SCORE of Chester and Delaware counties. Can you have the next slide, please, Judith? A brief background on SCORE. SCORE has been around for almost 60 years as a resource partner of the U.S. Small Business Administration. We're an organization of volunteers who are dedicated to helping small and startup businesses succeed in our communities. In Chester and Delaware counties, we have nearly 100 volunteers, and all of our mentoring and educational programs such as today's are available at no cost. At the end of today's webinar, I'll give you information on how you can request a SCORE mentor. Next slide, please. Rules of engagement for today's webinar is this presentation is being recorded and you'll receive a link to the recording in an email after today's session. All participants are being placed on mute to avoid any distractions. Judith will be stopping at several points during today's webinar to take questions, so please put your questions in the Q&A box and we'll take care of them as we go along. If you have any comments or references which you'd like to share with all participants, please feel free to put them in the chat box. And with that, I'd like to introduce today's speaker, Judith Lee.
Oops. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Adam, for setting us up for this webinar today. I want to just add that if you have not become familiar with SCORE's mentoring services, you should really consider them. We'll talk about that later at the end of the webinar, but the people like Adam are mentors in our system, and they're so full of expertise, and their services are free. All right, so a roadmap of our presentation today. We're going to talk about email marketing, why you need it, how to get started, how to get opened, have your email opened and read, and tools to use to create email marketing. And I want to just say that I created this webinar because I think a lot of people overlook email marketing as a marketing tool. And it is a very effective tool. We'll talk about that a little later. And then in the second half, we'll go through the steps of creating email marketing messages. We'll use the tools and then talk about what else you can do with the content that you use for creating email marketing messages. Okay, so email is a marketing tool. It's wonderful because you can reach virtually everyone with email. 90% of Americans use the internet, and 90% of them have an email address. 99% of email users check email daily, and in fact, on average, consumers check their email 15 times a day. And that's 251.8 million Americans. So obviously, this is a powerful tool that every business should be using in some form. There's some other reasons that we want to use email as a marketing tool. It gives an excellent return on investment, almost an unbelievable return on investment. A 36% return on investment, or $36 for every $1 spent. Social media advertising, which is paid, that has a 28% ROI and is considered very effective. And print display ads have just an 11% ROI. So compared to email, other forms of advertising have a higher investment and a lower return on investment. Right? It's also email as a marketing tool is very cost effective. You can do it yourself. It's easy to train a staff person to do it for you. You generally don't have to incur agency fees or fees for a digital marketing specialist. There's no printing or postage expense, which is one of the biggest expenses in the traditional type of marketing. The low cost of email marketing is great for startups and solo entrepreneurs. So here's an example of a very, very successful email campaign that I ran for a health coach. So she would send an email every Monday with a very quick health tip. This health tip was something of interest to really anyone who's interested in healthy habits. And she would record a short, and I mean very short, video once a week giving this tip. I would embed it in her template for email marketing, as you see here on the screen. And it would go out every Monday at noon. It had tremendous open rates. And this was a very effective way for her to stay in touch and with people who already knew her. Here's another email example, a very, very successful campaign for someone who was marketing actually it was like cell phone services. In this case, how much can you say about cell phone services? What this person did was target a certain demographic, which was busy parents about the same age as him. He was a young, busy parent. And we would collect and compile 3 articles a month that these folks would all be interested in reading. Had nothing to do with cell phones. But this got a great open rate. So he's kept in touch with friends and potential clients with this this email newsletter. It was very, very effective. And that is a point about email marketing. Email marketing is best for keeping in touch with people who already know you. Social media is better for connecting with people who don't know you. Okay, so you might say, how do I start one of these email programs? Now, it's really very simple. And I want to just go over those steps with you. First, you collect email addresses. Then you choose your email service provider. Okay, this is a company that sends large amounts of email out on your behalf. And you do need this company as opposed to sending it from your personal or business email address. You upload your email addresses to your email service provider. And it's okay to start small. I've started as small as 25 email addresses. You gather or create content, and then you use your email service provider templates and tools, and they often offer help, live assistance to get you going. And that's all something that is very, very doable. And there's no reason you can't master this yourself. Excuse me. Okay. All right. So email service providers. This is a list of them. There's others. Um, I happen to prefer Constant Contact, which I'm a business partner of theirs, but there are others that are very good. MailChimp, Active Campaign, HubSpot. There's others. Um, the cost to start is about $50 a month. They usually bill you based on the size of your email list. Many of them do offer free trials, so you can start that way. Okay, I'm going to stop here and see if we have any questions.
Right. I don't see any questions at this time. If you have any questions for Judith, please enter them into the Q&A box, and she'll be stopping at several points in today's presentation to take them.
Okay, thanks, Adam. All right, let me just double check myself. Okay, some rules of thumb. You need to make sure that you provide information in your email marketing that is wanted or needed by your target audience. Okay, you think about your customer and what they need or want. I can't stress this enough. The email marketing that I have been most successful with puts the wants or needs of the desires or needs of the customer first. If you don't do that, if you just advertise your services, they won't open your email. They'll get tired of it, and it will be a waste of time for you. There's some other things that I say to always do, and these are simply ways to make friends or make people like you. This is what we all learned in kindergarten. Surprise people or inspire them. Teach them something. Be funny. And when I say be funny, if you're doing humor on behalf of your business, you want to be careful to be in good taste. So I always say, if this joke is something that I wouldn't be embarrassed to tell to my grandmother, then that would be okay to use on behalf of your business. You want to provide visuals always with your emails. Photos are good. Video is even better because video is more engaging. I always have photos and video embedded in my email marketing. Okay, excuse me. I have jumped ahead again. I'm a little twitchy on this. There we go. All right. All right. And some tools, you might say, well, where do I get this content? Original is always best. But you may not be a writer. If you're a writer, if you like to write, that's great. But most of us don't have that time. So then you turn to an authoritative source. Now, once again, this is information your client or customer wants or needs. So I often will turn to a professional or industry association. All right. This is going to be a source with no commercial interest. So for instance, some of my clients are in the healthcare field. I have one in particular that's an ophthalmologist. I go to the American Academy of Ophthalmology, where they have wonderful content for patients, geared for patients. And we take content from there. We also use the CDC. That's a government site. Government sites are great. So we go to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and get other content about eyes and eye care. You can also use, depending on your content, you can use a municipal or nonprofit website. All right. Once again, a source with no commercial interest. And you can use that content as long as you link back to the original authoritative source. Here's an example of an email that I send out on behalf of a group of healthcare professionals. Now, these folks are a mixed group, different specialties. So we're just always looking not for one specialty, but for general sort of cutting edge healthcare information. And we link back, as you can see, we link back here to the CDC, and we give them practical tips. Another really important tool for content creation is artificial intelligence. Now, you could consider this to be your new best friend. It is a great time saver for getting started and gathering statistics. You must always remember to verify your facts and statistics that you get through artificial intelligence. Because the AI goes and finds that information, but they don't check it. All right. If writing is not your thing or you just don't have time, AI does a really decent job, but always check your facts and statistics. I will tell you this exact presentation I got started by using Google Bard. There's several others listed here on the screen. I used it to to gather statistics about email marketing. You can use it to write completely, but once again, check everything before you share it or present it. There is a whole thing called internet plagiarism, which is a legal specialty. So you do not want to just lift something from that someone else wrote without linking back to it and giving them credit. By linking back, you do give credit. But if you're placing your email message on your website, it's especially important to check your content for plagiarism. Once again, this is content that it does not link back to another site. If you are using content that you've picked up from somewhere else, you have to rewrite it or reshoot it if it's video for originality, and then test that with these two different services or others, Copyscape or Plagiarism Detector. This goes for artificial intelligence text as well. You do need to protect yourself because internet plagiarism is a legal specialty. Some other tools for photos. Once again, as I said before, original photos are great. They're better, best. But often we don't have our own photos. So then you can turn to either royalty-free photos, which you don't have to pay for, or stock photos, which you do pay for. I've used both of these sources, all of these sources I mentioned. You can have a stock photo account. Some of my clients do that. Others, I seek free photos for them. There's also a royalty-free or stock video that you can use. My motto is search for it and you will find it. Google it, search it on YouTube. You will find it. Here's another email example. This is an example for a company that actually assists schools with fundraising instead of just advertising their services. They share ideas for fundraising with the presidents of PTA associations, home and school associations, and principals of schools. So these are just some ideas. They're proven ideas, they're fun ideas. We present them, share them. And this email newsletter has a very large open rate. Oops. A couple more rules of thumb. Shorter is better. Short, short, short. Break down your message into small bites. Say you have a long message, we'll make it into 3 different messages. Answer the frequently asked questions. What are the frequently asked questions that you field from prospects and clients? Remember, your customers are looking for answers. So if you can be the person that supplies the answers, they're going to trust you and they're certainly going to read your email messages. All right, let's stop and see if we have any more questions.
Yeah, I've got a couple questions here for you, Judith. So everyone, please feel free to add your questions to the list here. Our first question is, which is the best service for a small business? I assume they're referring to email service providers.
That's a great question. I feel the 2 best ones are going to be Constant Contact or MailChimp. Some of the other services are kind of larger, offer more services, and are difficult for a startup or a small company to afford. But I believe those 2, their pricing is about equal. Once again, it's going to cost you about $50 to get started, $50 a month.
Okay, thank you. Judith, next question is, what techniques do you use to grow an email list?
Great question. An email list, we will get to it. I have a slide on that, but I'll just quickly tell you, you always grab your, ask your clients to give their email address when you are kind of selling to them, signing up with them. You can also request email addresses at an event or in your store if you have one. And you should have a sign up form on your website. And for instance, an email service provider will provide a form for you to put on your website to ask website visitors to sign up for your email.
Okay. One more question. On Shutterstock, does the watermark get removed only in the paid version?
Yes, that is correct. And you cannot use those ones that have the watermark. So you would, if you choose a Shutterstock photo, you're going to have to pay for it. I sometimes will find something on a paid service and then I'll go look for something similar under royalty-free photos.
Okay. The next question, do you need permission from the person before sending email marketing materials?
If the person provides you with their email address, that is considered permission. What I do stress is that whatever email service provider you choose, make sure they make it easy for people to unsubscribe. All right. If they make sure they have a link, an automatic link at the bottom of your email message that makes it easy for people to unsubscribe, so that if someone really doesn't want your newsletter, they can unsubscribe easily. But basically, receiving that email address from the client or prospect gives you permission. You really shouldn't be using email addresses that people have not given you permission to use.
Okay, that's all the questions we have right now, Judith. So any more questions, folks? Please enter them in the Q&A box as we go along.
Okay, well, thanks, folks. Those are all very good questions. All right. All right, so to create an email message, you're going to ask yourself a few questions. Is this just a one-time event or campaign? It's just something for just sort of like for this month, or are you preparing a campaign, say leading up to a sale or something like that? You're going to plan out your messages if it's a campaign. Is this a weekly or a monthly message? I have had a lot of success sending weekly emails, but you must be careful to make sure if you're sending something every week, make sure every week it's something your customer really wants or needs. If it isn't like that, if it isn't something they really want or need, they won't open it every week and might get tired of you and just delete your emails. If you don't have enough content to be compelling every week, then do a monthly campaign, which works very well for many businesses. And then you want to make sure you've gathered content. Really, it's something that I will do as a matter of course in my daily going through email and information that I see online. I gather content for specific clients. That makes the whole process of putting together the email very, very easy. The other thing you must do is choose an appropriate template. The email service provider provides templates, and I'm going to show you some examples. Okay, I went the wrong way. Here we go. So here's examples of email templates. So the email service provider just provides these, and you can take any one of these if they are similar to what you need. You can just pick them up. You can change the colors, the artwork, the fonts, anything on them. I personally have used several of these templates, and they're very useful. There's no reason to have to design your own newsletter or marketing message. Just choose a template, and designers made these. So they put together colors that go together and all that, but you can change everything if you care to. I often do that. You can use the photos that are shown here on these without any credit or charge. So really, templates are a wonderful tool. Let me just address some of the frequently asked questions I get about email marketing. First of all, how do I get them to open it? Well, we've actually already addressed that in the big picture. It's got to be, you've got to be offering information your customer wants or needs. It doesn't have to have anything to do with your business. I had wonderful success with a monthly email message from an insurance broker. Now, no one wants to read about insurance. No one wants to hear about it. All of us need it, but we really don't want to read about it. So this insurance brokerage was in a small town that had no local newspaper, no local source of community events. So in this email newsletter, we just covered community events. We talked about community events for the coming month. You know, Little League, scouting things, municipal events, anything that was going, library events. There was a little column that talked about insurance topics, but mainly community events. Wildly successful. Everybody wanted to read this. And in fact, some of the readers then started sending them events to include. If you serve people wanted or needed information, they will open your email and they will trust you. You need to also send your email message on a day or time they are likely to open it. Now, there's some rules of thumb about that. Avoid Mondays, avoid Fridays. I avoid Saturdays. But I find Sunday nights are great. And anytime on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. This is just learned over time about when your customers are most likely to open it. Now, your subject line is key. That's also what they'll see in their email queue. So subject line is very, very important. Here's some guidance on subject lines. You want to keep it 5 to 8 words. Short, short, short. Try to push the hot buttons. Okay. Be clever or intriguing. And you also write a subhead, as many email queues will show a headline, which would be the subject line, and a little subhead. Here's some examples for you. Oh, I'm sorry, there we go. Okay, subject lines. Late but not too late. That always gets a great open. No-brainer fundraiser. 5 mistakes you're going to make. Because everybody wants to avoid making mistakes. When it rains, it pours. And wait, there's jazz in China. So the way you know that a subject line is working is by your open rate. So what is a good open rate? Excellent, excellent question. In most industries, 18 to 20% open rate is average or good. All right. If you're a membership organization, as I have some clients that are, that should have a 25 to 30% open rate to be good. But with the right content, you can far exceed the average. The subject line gets them to open it. So you say late, but not too late. They open it. Okay, what's inside? some content about an event or a deadline or something that's important to them, and other content that is important to them, interesting to them. Okay. So here are some examples of open rates. So here is here's one client. We've got a 62% open rate. They have a large list of almost 8,000, 7,500. They've been building that list for years, so do not feel like you have to have a list of that size. Literally for 20 years. They have a 62% open rate. That means almost 4,000 people look at their monthly email message. It's their content includes a lot of community information, useful information for homeowners. They go to new homeowners in their area. Here, here's one that is, oh, actually, I take that back. That is, the one I just showed you was the, that is an ophthalmologist, believe it or not. Here's another one, who does for homeowners. Let's see, this is a 47% open rate. They've got a big list of 9,000. Once again, nearly 4,000 people open their email once a month. 47%. Now, this is all information that the email service provider gave us, provide us with every month. Your email service provider will give you really good reporting on your performance. Here's a relatively new newsletter. Already we're up to 54% opens. It's a small list comparatively, but you're still getting a great open rate. And then this one is a 56% open rate. I will tell you, this also is a relatively new newsletter, but they have a long-standing established clientele. All right. The other thing that we do, as I mentioned before, is that we select a template, and that will dictate where you place your content. So you're going to plan out, in general, a message. If you're sending a message every week, you want to make it very short. You really want to just send one item. If you're going to send a monthly newsletter, 3 to 4 articles are all you should be including, unless you're listing local events. That can be longer. You want to make sure you have photos for every article. These can be stock photos, royalty-free photos. You want to embed some video. All right. So I try to do that. And the word embedding is how you place it into the newsletter template. The template will have everything you need to do that. It will have the little tool to embed it. And then always make sure you're linking back to a source, or you can also create a PDF. Say, for instance, you wrote something long. I have one client who loves to write, and she writes long things. We don't put a long article in her newsletter. We put just a few paragraphs, and then we link it to a PDF that I create with the full article. It will open up the full article for anyone who's interested in reading the full article. Remember that the email design should reflect your brand. So for instance, you want to have your logo at the top. You want to have the colors of your logo reflected in your email newsletter. And those are easy to match with the tools you'll get. Here's an example of an email newsletter. They have a 55% open rate. I know for a fact they have a higher open rate now. This was from the spring. We send weekly or 2 times a week for this market. This is actually scrolls all the way down. So what you've got on the left is what people see. They keep scrolling. They'll see what you see on the right. We have a greeting, a seasonal greeting, a holiday greeting. Okay. We have an article that's very interesting to the reader. We have a little bit of a report about an event that was important. We have sort of what I call boilerplate, which I'm saying is this. That is something that asks the readers to sign up for an easy fundraising thing. This is on behalf of a nonprofit group. There's a list of events that this organization is offering, and this is their the board of directors and the mission statement for this organization. All right. Consistently high open rate. And this is the kind of email I don't have any problem sending it twice a week even and getting a great open rate because it's a membership organization and people are really interested in what gets offered. All right, let's stop and take any questions.
All right, we have several questions.
Good.
All right, so first off, is it possible to be successful with email marketing without ESP and do the work by yourself? Is it possible to use Canva or other design sites for email templates?
You can do that. You can use Canva to make an email template, but you will get into trouble sending mass emails from your individual or business email address. If you send more than 20 or 25 emails in a group, you will be labeled as a spammer, and you'll be shut down. You'll be shut down by your email address will be shut down. So there are spam rules out there, and you will have a problem if you try to do that. And that's why you need the email service provider. It's worth making that investment to make sure that your personal or your business email address doesn't get closed down.
Okay. The next question, what are hot buttons?
Okay, by hot buttons, the things that motivate your particular clients or customers. Let me just think of I'll just give you a personal example. Like I'm someone who's always interested in animals and animal rescue. If you know there's something that your clients are interested in. For instance, if I see something about puppy finds a home, puppy adopted after 210 days in shelter, something like that, I'll click on it. If the hot button they pick is like my dog, like 5 vaccines your dog must have. So it's going to be things that motivate your client or customer, and it can be personal things. It doesn't have to be related to your business. You can still slip in an article about your business. But hot buttons are what motivate people, and they're different for everyone. But you will find with your customers, there's going to be a common denominator. And those are going to be the hot buttons that you use. You're going to put them in your subject line.
All right. Our next question, how do you ensure that the email is not viewed as spam and therefore not opened because of that?
Okay, well, that can be a problem. I most times I do not have a problem. For some reason, I had one client that was his emails were going to spam, and the way I knew it was that and this is something all of you should do. I put my email address in the email list, so I would get a copy just as the recipients would. And I wasn't getting this copy. And I went and found it in spam. And I don't know why. It shouldn't have gone to spam. What the thing that was sending it to spam was the reply to email was like a company email. And for some reason, the uh, the email platform was going in and saying, oh, this is just a promotion. This is just an ad. And it was because of that reply to address, from or reply to address. And when I changed that to that person's, what we did was we made a Gmail address for that person, free to do. And that way it appeared to be a personal email address. No problem. It went right through. So that is one other thing is don't attach any kind of a PDF. You have to embed a PDF into your email. Another reason you need the email service provider. That's a flag. An attached PDF is a flag. Also, if your reply to or from address is a business address, change it to, it might go that way. Change it to a personal address, and you can create a specific personal address just for that purpose. Okay. But that's the only time I've really had a problem with that. You can also ask your recipients to kind of say this is not spam. Each email platform does give you a way to do that. But getting people to do something is hard. These two don't attach a PDF, and in your reply to or from address, don't use a business address. And that's a little bit of a technicality. That address won't get flagged if that's included within an email service provider platform. It's a little technical, and you can always reach out to me if you have a problem with this.
Okay, next question. What is your position on buying email lists?
Don't do it. You have very little success. I had a client who just insisted on buying an email list, and it was none of those people opened the emails. It's not a good idea. It's better to build your own. Start with addresses you have. You can even just start with friends and family, okay, and build from there. I believe I still have room for, I still have a slide on collecting email addresses, but let me just remind you, build it by collecting email addresses at the time that you do business with someone buys from you. Ask people at an event or in your store to sign up for email. You can offer a reward. You get something free if you do this. And you can have a sign up form on your website. And on that, you can also offer a reward, like a free PDF about some topic your client cares about, or even a free discount on something. But build your own email list. It's the only thing that really will work.
Okay, and one more question.
Okay.
Does click stand for the customers not only open the email, but also clicked on an email link?
No, when they open it, that's one action that will be recorded by your email service provider. Then usually if they click on a link, that will be a separate recording. You do it's good to look at your, that's called a click through. Open rate is one thing, and then clicking on a link within the message is click through. It's interesting to check on that click through rate, especially if it's important that they read the whole article or that you would like them to read the whole article. A lot of my clients just want them to open the email and read it, and we don't worry too much about click-through rates, but they are two separate things.
Okay, and another question, and then I
Okay.
think we'll want to move on,
Yeah.
is what are some other things that should be done to make sure email isn't marked as spam?
Those are the only things that I know of that I already gave. Make sure it isn't spam. Okay. And the way you do that is um, have the email address given to you by the client, which is an indication they want to receive it. And then provide content that's not just spam. It's not just advertising. Provide content that people want to read. Okay, I'm going to
Okay,
move on if that's okay.
yeah, I think we could, yeah.
We should. Thank you. Okay. Leverage your email marketing. So in other words, by leveraging, we mean use it for another purpose to help your marketing program. So place your email marketing on your website. If you don't know how to do it, get a website person to help you. Putting up that new email marketing message on your website, it will refresh your content. And search engines like that. Google likes that. All right. Ask a webmaster to create a searchable archive for you. So your customers and prospects can look up in topics of interest to them. Store all your content on your website. Your website, it's a great repository. It shows demonstrates your expertise, and it tells your story. Very, very important. Another way to leverage your email marketing is to kind of break apart your message. Say you have 3 or 4 articles in your email newsletter. Post them as separate articles on social media. All right. Link back to the email, post it on your website. Okay. You'll be sending people to your website. You're going to have a photo or video with every post, but you've already got a photo or video that you can pull out of your email newsletter and place it on social media with the post. You can get a month's worth of social media out of one email newsletter, okay? Because social media posts can be 1 or 2 sentences. You can break it up and schedule it. It's a great thing. And remember, each platform has a different audience or purpose. And by platform, I mean Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, each type of social media. Okay, I'll go back for a second. That is the end of what I needed to cover for you. Are there any other questions right now for the end of the presentation?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not seeing any questions right now, so we'll give folks a moment if they have any final questions.
Yeah, and I'll just yeah, we'll give you a minute. And at the very end of the last slide, there is an email address for me. There's some other important email addresses, but there's one for me. So if you have a question, you can always ask me. Like all the SCORE people, I'm here as a volunteer, and I will be happy to speak with you offline as a friend and a mentor.
And I do have a question here
Oh,
for
good.
you.
Go
Uh,
ahead.
did did the previous slide mean that we need to collect all email articles on our website?
What it really means is it's a very smart thing to do. And you don't have to, you will be putting fresh content on your website without having to write something else. Okay. So it's a very smart thing to do to place your email marketing on your website. You don't have to, but you'll leverage it. So in other words, you'll get more impact out of your email message. And also you'll leverage by placing it on your social media. So social media is something that search engines also like it if you're putting up new content on your social media. So all of that helps your search engine optimization, your placement in search rankings.
Okay. While I'm doing the closing slides, Judith, would you be willing to put your email into
It's
the
on the
chat?
next slide.
Ah, okay.
So you go ahead and speak. And
All right. So as we talked about at the beginning, one of SCORE's main activities is to offer mentoring services to small and startup businesses. These services are available at no cost to you. If you're interested in getting a mentor, you can go to our website or call. A website, you'll be able to look at our roster of mentors and pick and see their profiles and try to match with someone who has expertise in particular area that you may be interested in. Um, you can, many of our mentors you can schedule directly. Additionally, if that doesn't work for you, you can call the number here. That it'll be connected with our office, and they will help you to connect with a mentor who's well placed to meet your needs. And next slide, please. Here's Judith's email here on the top of the slide, and the contact information for our office. And before you go, I would appreciate if you could fill out this poll and give us feedback on today's session. As I mentioned earlier, we'll be sending out an email later today, most likely, with a link to the recording of today's session. And you can expect that you'll be receiving emails about future webinars that we'll be offering. So we look forward to seeing you again, and please fill out our poll for us before you go.
Yes, I would just like to add, please consider getting a SCORE mentor. Their services are free, and I've seen our mentors do wonderful things to help businesses at whatever stage you're at with your business. And I also want to thank you for taking the time today to attend.
And yeah, another question for you here, Judith.
Okay.
How often or when do you post to social media from one newsletter? Say there are 3 articles in one newsletter email, one social per week, or what do you do?
Yeah, I would spread them out one social per week. Sometimes I take them and what is one article post on a newsletter, break it into two uh, social media posts and do 2 a week. So you will find your content can be broken up quite a bit like that. I mean, overall, you really should be posting to your social media 3 to 5 times a week. But your newsletter will give you at least one and probably more per week.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Judith. It was an excellent webinar, some great material covered here, and I'm sure that all of our audience is will have some information that they've gathered out of this, no matter where they are in their journey of growing their email marketing.